My name is Athleen G. My background in education has been mathematics. I've worked with young kids all the way up to adults, and I've taught for over 30 years. I'm going to introduce you to the excitement of algebra tiles. Something you're going to enjoy doing all the time and getting the kids to understand algebra a lot easier and a lot more fun. Algebra tiles. Let's start. And I'm going to start with a binomial, which is x plus 1 times x plus 2. Alright, I'm going to go back to the old-fashioned method of using FOIL, which is first, outside, inside, and last. And I'm going to go ahead and represent the first part right here, and that's going to represent x times x, which gives me x squared. Outside, that'll be x times 2, which would give me x times 2, which equals 2x. Then I'm going to go to the inside, which is 1 times x, which is equal to 1x. The last part I'm going to do is the last two numbers of each binomial. That'll give me 1 times 2, and of course my total is 2. I'm going to combine like terms. I notice 1x and 2x are alike, so I can combine it and simplify it to be 3x. My final answer for the entire problem is going to be x squared plus 3x plus 2. From a binomial times a binomial to a trinomial, and you've got something different than what you started with. On to the next section, and it's called expanded notation, so I'm going to write that down. It's very similar to doing the math in a vertical method instead of the horizontal. Okay, and it looks very similar but written vertically. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite x plus 1 times x plus 2. And I'm going to go ahead and start off multiplying the x's first. So I'm going to put x times x, which gives me x squared. From there, I'm going to go ahead and multiply 1 times 2. So I'm going to write down 1 times 2. That gives me 2. I'm going to go ahead and do the diagonals, which is x times 1. I'm going to write x times 1, which equals 1x. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side of the diagonal, which is x times 2, which is the same as 2x. And I notice right away that these are like terms, so I can rewrite these as 3x. I now can go ahead and bring everything down, and I have now x squared plus 3x plus 2. I've changed a binomial to a trinomial. Now our third method is, I'm going to really need you guys to pay attention, because this is the fun part. It's the algebra tile method. And I'm going to go ahead and place that here, but I'm going to need the board and to show the representation of that. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my borders, where I'm going to go ahead and represent the problem, and I'm going to go ahead and place x plus 1 here. I'm going to go ahead and also show x, I'm going to straighten this up a little bit, times 2. And I'm going to write this down. This is x plus 1. X times the x will give me x squared. And remember, x times 1 will give me an x. A 1 times a x will give me a x. And notice I'm doing it horizontally because that's the orientation that I should have it in. And I'm multiplying 1 times x. Last two values is 1 times 1, that'll give me an area of 1 here. Another 1 times 1 will give me a 1. Alright, let's represent each part of this. X times x gave me an x squared. 1 times x gave me an x. A 1 times this x and a 1 times this x gave me a total of 2x. And right here I get 2. I'm going to go ahead and combine the 2x's and the x. That'll bring 3x here. I'm going to bring down the x squared and then the unit 2. Again, we've rewritten a binomial times a binomial and it all became a trinomial as my final answer. We're going to go to our fourth and final step. So I'm going to move the algebra tiles and now we're going to go to that rectangular array, which some people like to call it the box method. Both represent the same thing that we are going to go ahead and demonstrate. Again, since it was a binomial times a binomial, I'm going to go ahead and draw a 2 by 2 box to represent that. I'm going to go ahead and write down x plus 1 and write down the dimension x plus 2. X times x will give me an x squared. A x times 1 will give me a 1x. X times 2 will give me a 2x. And the final one is a 2 times 1 will give me a 2. Notice again, 1x and 2x are like in terms and they're diagonals. So I'm going to bring that one down first. So 1x plus 2x will give me 3x. Bring down the x squared. Bring down the 2. And now we have a binomial times a binomial, and it became a trinomial. And now we've shown all four methods of representation to make sure you understand the concept of multiplying binomials. Okay, now notice we've been doing everything on the table, but now I'm going to go ahead and check for understanding. And it's essential that I can talk and communicate the math. That's the unique difference between regular algebra tiles that you see everywhere else. EduStic makes this unique in that I can hold it up, talk and communicate the math. Common Core essentially is asking us, make sure you can communicate the math, explain, share out, and I can clearly do that at a glance. And as an educator or a parent, I can check to see if my child or my student is doing it correctly. I can talk a lot more about math because now I can share and check for understanding. Much better. EduStic's an exciting tool that you don't want to miss out on.